Good morning. It's early, I guess. We're doing a live at 6:30 in the morning. I didn't think about that part, but that's okay.
That's all right.
I'm here with Andrew Lucero. This is episode 27 of the Preferred Experience podcast. And we just finished a little workout. And we're going to teach you about building your, what do we call it, your running base. Mm-hmm. So we know that gyms are closed, races are canceled. Spartan race put out an email this week that said Spartan races are canceled the rest of the year.
The rest of the year, no Spartan races. So
what do we do?
Yeah, we're kind of left in no man's land right now.
Yep.
With
some people feel that way. But.
Yeah, we want to kind of talk about this to kind of reinforce some things about having putting purpose behind your training, and it's helpful to have something goal-wise to shoot for to make your training more meaningful. And so we just want to address that today and some ideas that we have, but a program that we're going to be starting to help build a solid foundation so that when races come back or we're just more prepared, we feel more confident going into some of these races, or just having a better base with what comes ahead in the future.
Yep. There was a time that I did Ironman racing. It feels like it's been a while now. It's been since 2010 since I've done a full Ironman race. I've done halves and other races that were long since then. But back when I first started doing Ironman in 2007, I had a coach, and he would always tell me to keep my heart rate. We did everything based off heart rate, which we know we can transfer into, like we did a run yesterday. It was supposed to be more like zone 2 or conversation pace.
Yeah.
So he would have me do something where, I could talk kind of like this while I was running. Maybe a little bit more labored, but not very much. And I was on a triathlon team, and we all got trained by this one coach. His name was Nick Goodman. He was a great coach. I learned a lot from him, and he's now a forest ranger.
Oh, cool.
He doesn't coach triathlon anymore, but he was a stud, and I loved learning from him and learned a lot from him. And I would say he kind of helped me change he was the start of a lot of changes for me in my life, because all I was doing before that was working, and I didn't have very many goals, and I got into triathlon. And so he would coach me, and he would tell all of us, like, when you sign up for an Ironman race, you pretty much have to sign up about a year in advance, because they sell out. That's the crazy thing.
Oh, okay.
They're super expensive. Over $1,500 now, I think, to do an Ironman race.
I didn't realize that.
I haven't looked lately, but I think it's right in that area. Back when I did it, it was around $1,000, which was a commitment. And so Spartan races are a killer deal. So is CrossFit, because triathlon costs so much more money to
expensive.
do. But when we would get trained by Nick, he would have us, for the most part, always train in zone 2. And for some people, that meant walking.
Yeah.
They weren't really running. They're like, all I can do in that zone is walk.
Yeah.
And he's like, trust it. Trust the training. Do it. And you would build up. So some of these people would be walking. I could run slow. It was probably in the 10-minute range. I don't know.
10-minute mile
range. At first.
Yeah.
And then it eventually got better, and we did this test every week, and I've been thinking we should do this, but we would, not every week, but once a month, we would choose, he chose this heart rate, because we did a VO2 test.
Okay.
And we'd do, for me, it was 156 beats per minute heart rate.
Okay.
And we would do 3 miles at that heart rate, and we'd see what our average time was on it.
Okay. Yeah.
And over time, I saw that speed get better and better. So running a super easy pace, I actually got down into the low 7s. Some people would get into the low 6s, but I just never got there. Doesn't mean I couldn't.
That's all right.
But
Yeah.
I thought that was a win,
Sure.
that we were able to. I felt like it was a win for me that I was able to get down into the 7-minute range for a
Awesome.
really easy pace. It was the goal of what I was supposed to be able to hold through an Ironman race.
For something that's going to take you 10, 12 more hours.
Yeah.
You don't want your heart rate spiking out of control. So.
So learned a lot of different things, but that always kind of stuck with me. And different times of the year, I haven't done it the last couple years, but different times of the year, I would really just stick to that zone 2 and below type heart rate.
Okay.
And so we just started changing up our training, our running training, because we have a running program at CrossFit Preferred, and I think that's something that's a little different here than a lot of places do, because most CrossFitters, would you say most CrossFitters hate running?
I think there's a stereotype that a lot of CrossFitters just try to, or they treat running like the plague. They want all the heavy barbells and heavy weights and whatnot. But you think of it in the context of a conditioning workout. If your aerobic base isn't built, even in these metcons that we do that can be 10, 15, 20 minutes or even longer. If you don't have a good base, you're gonna be suffering through a workout like that. So the purpose of our endurance program that we are starting this week and we're moving forward with is to build that base that we talked about, so that we can, like, when the training puts more of a focus on like a shorter distance or higher intensity, that we'll have the base to handle that. But at the same time, with a longer time duration, or a low intensity steady state, if we're on our feet for 30, 40, 50 minutes, an hour longer, we're not hitting a wall. We're not we're able to push through at that steady base. So that's what we want to achieve with our running program that we're starting here.
So an example of what we did this week, one of the workouts was either hill sprints, which sounds funny, but hold on, because you're like, sprints, aerobic base. But it sounded funny to me at first. But one of the workouts is 8-second sprints. So either you do it on a hill that'll take about 8 seconds. We like the hill behind Walgreens. It's actually a perfect hill for that.
Perfect. Yep.
And then, or you use a sled and you do that, or you do like stairs at a track, if you can get in a track and not have any trouble for it right now. That's been a little bit of a problem around here. But so you do these workouts. It was like, I don't know, 7-8 second intervals.
Right.
But then you had to recover for 3 minutes, which sounds like forever to me, for 8 seconds. But the goal of it is your heart rate's not going to get so spiked in that 8 seconds. So you're not going to go into, like, it's not like a track workout where you're running a 400 and your heart rate's just totally pegged.
Right. Yeah. The idea is not volume in that case. It's intensity, and being able to keep that intensity and being able to fully recover, so that the next set you can attack it with the exact same intensity.
And then the other workout this week was a 5-mile run, or for some people it was time. We have some people that are starting that they haven't really been running other than the track or the little runs we do in CrossFit. And so it was a 5-mile run, or we had some people do about 30 minutes yesterday.
Yeah. So, and then the idea behind that, just kind of like what we were talking about, staying in that zone 2 or conversational pace where you're not heavy labored in your breathing, but you're able to sustain a steady pace for an extended period of time. So it's a little, it's a little different in the context of, like a CrossFit workout where it may be an AMRAP or like a 15, 20-minute window. You're going at a high intensity, you're breathing heavy. It's, you're not having a conversation with the person next to you as you're going through, like, as you're working at that high intensity. Whereas building this aerobic base, being able to breathe, being able to keep that heart rate under control, those things are important in order to lay a foundation so that as these runs in our program, they start to increase in our mileage, we can still be able to build on how much that we're able to handle.
Yep. So the goal with this program, it's 12 weeks, and the goal is to build a lot of people. They'll build all the way up to about a half marathon distance, and then some people may do, a 10K may be their push out of their comfort zone, or maybe 10 miles, just different. Whatever is a push for each individual is what we're focusing on. So I think it's going to be a really cool program. What we're planning on at the end of all of this is, if there aren't any races in the area, which there easily could be, the Gilbert Days half marathon that they do every year, and they do a 10K. This is going to build up to that time and get you in like incredible shape by November. So by the end of October, we'll be done with this phase of our programming. It's a 12-week program. And then you'll either be ready for a half marathon, a 10K, whatever would push you. Some people have shown interest in doing the Grand Canyon. So we've been talking about that. If you have interest in that, share or comment. Comment if you want to do something like that. I think that would be a really fun push. So just because races aren't happening right now doesn't mean we can't set a big goal, something that pushes us. And
and I think it'll be helpful to, again, kind of have a purpose behind your training. So if this is something that maybe you may be hesitant about, maybe it's something that's worth your while to give you that extra edge to get out of your comfort zone, to get miles in, to have a goal that you're reaching out for. So last year, when a bunch of us were preparing for the Spartan race that we did in Southern California, so this was at the end of October. It was probably about now, maybe even like late June, July. So that's kind of when we really started putting in those longer.
We seem to do that every year,
trail runs
when it's like the hottest.
When it's the hottest,
we're like, oh, we should start running more.
So, but that puts us at our 12-ish week out base. So if this is if that's something that you feel is a stretch for you, this would be the perfect time to start getting ready for that. And so we want to be able to have something that's going to keep our interest in our training. So we don't feel aimless in what we're doing. We're not just doing CrossFit workouts just for the sake of doing them, or we're not just we're not feeling half-hearted in our effort to come to the gym or go on runs. We want to put purpose behind what we're doing and have something that we can all come together with to achieve together at the end of this training cycle.
One thing I saw this week too, and we don't know if it's for sure the way it's going to happen, but it sounds like the Open's not going to happen until February.
So I saw that.
It wasn't a definite, like, this is when it's going to be, but it doesn't sound like we're going to have the Open in October this year. So this is the time to just, if you build this base, it's going to help you in CrossFit too. It's not going to just help you for a race or for Grand Canyon.
And that's the perfect thing about it. If we build that base now, so that when our training cycle changes and we go back to those higher intensity, shorter durations where it's just a couple minutes or just or even, that's why it translates so well with CrossFit workouts, because you have a higher intensity effort with kind of interval cycles, but the greater our bases that we build now, the easier that those workouts are going to be to sustain, to recover faster, to be able to again put that intensity when it matters most in those workouts.
For sure. One story, last story. I don't know if you have anything else you want to share today, but one last story that I was talking with Tate yesterday. And Tate last year, he decided that he wanted to do the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim. And that's been something that's been on my list for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you more about that in a second. But on Tate, he just trained here, and he did CrossFit workouts, and then he would do a couple runs.
The track workouts.
And he would do track workouts and then throw in like 2 more runs a week, I think is what he was doing around that time. And he went out and did rim to rim to rim, and he said it went great.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't easy, but he felt like he was
in so much
prepared.
better shape compared to if he wasn't coming to the gym.
And those that don't know what rim to rim is, it's about 45 miles depending on which route you take. But I think he ended up right around 45 miles, and it took him 20 hours to do it. So talk about time on feet.
Yep.
And he just did really good. So it was cool to see how all this translated for him.
Right.
And to be honest with you, if I don't have something that kind of scares me a little bit, I don't train that well. So like if I'm like, oh, it's a 10K, I could go do that right now. And then I should have a better attitude about it. But for some reason, the long, scary stuff is what gets me training.
Right.
I think I train scared. If I train scared, I train better, So find that something that really pushes you, because at least for me, it really pushes me. When we did the ultra last year with Spartan,
the Spartan Ultra,
I was nervous about that.
Yeah.
It gave me that little fear in my stomach, scary feeling in my stomach. And I was talking with a friend of mine, Grant, yesterday, and he has really wanted to do rim to rim to rim for the last maybe 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. And we keep putting it off. But we've decided we're going to do it October 17th.
Nice.
And I am training scared again, to be honest. So it should be good. So I have a little bit different focus.
Purpose behind your training. So.
But there's definitely going to be some purpose in my training right now.
Yeah. So I think that's ultimately what we want to get across today is to invite you to, even with there being so much unknown right now and not too much in terms of like events or things to train for in the future, we don't want to train aimlessly. We want to train with intent. We want to put focus where it matters most, so that we can keep reaching out of our comfort zone, because that's how we're going to make the most progress and get the biggest bang for our buck behind what we do training wise. So this is a perfect time to come in. If you missed the workout yesterday, don't hesitate. Come next week. If 5 miles or 6 miles is something you haven't done in a long time, there's always scaling options. Even as the miles progress through this training program, there's always a way to scale it for everybody, whether it's just doing it by a time, or just bringing the miles down so it's something that's more achievable for you. Don't feel like this program doesn't apply to you, because it's all about your attitude and getting something out of it. So there's definitely something to be achieved here.
For sure. Cool. Yeah. Well, I think that is a great place to stop.
All righty.
I think
good stuff.
This has been good. So we're excited about this. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how everyone does with this type of training.
Yeah.
And I promise you, if you do it, you will do really well. The people that did the Ironman race back then started out walking, and they ended up running, and they ended up having a great time at their race. Like the people that my friend Nick trained back then, they did really well compared to most people that would go out and do Ironman races.
Yep.
So you can do the same. I know that you're going to build a really strong base by doing this, and it's going to help you in so many different areas in your fitness. And we appreciate you listening. If you have a friend or somebody that would benefit from this, we'd love for you to share it. And I think that's it.
All right.
Thanks for being on again today, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you. Have a great weekend.
We'll see you guys.
See you.